Come on. It's time for a double helping of fresh blog post reading. Do you like World versus World? Do you like winning? Do you like winning actually mattering? Well, I've got good news for you because ArenaNet is finally working on that. The new beta starting up on February 27th. Very, very soon indeed. Stay tuned. So what's going on here? Basically, this was always the plan, right? Like ArenaNet added World Restructuring to add like a more structured matchmaking system to World versus World to better align matchups so you get more content, better content, all that kind of stuff. And that was the first half of the World versus World revamp. The second half, people have forgotten it because it was so long ago and it took a long time to get here. But the second half of the revamp was always making actually winning your matchup do something, right? We've got our fancy matchmaker and now we have matches and score and stuff. But what happens if you win? And that's kind of what ArenaNet is moving on here. So we've got a couple of adjustments to, and this is also a two-phase thing. So we've got phase 2 is also made up of 2 phases. The first phase they're gonna do here is they are reworking at how war score is gained. So what actually is that? Okay, so war score are the points you gain from capturing and holding onto objectives. It is this stuff, right? War score, and then, you've got 2-hour skirmishes, right? And then you get war score from killing stuff, capturing objectives, holding objectives, doing stuff. And at the end of the skirmish, you get these. You get victory points depending on how well you did in that skirmish, right? Like, if you're first, you get more war score. If you're a noob and you're last, you get less. That's how World versus World scoring works. So, victory points are awarded to the teams based on the score, which in turn accumulates over the course of the week. And then, of course, whoever's got the most points goes up in the, the matchups. Whoever's got the lowest score goes down. We want to change how war score is gained throughout the skirmish period while incentivizing and rewarding more active gameplay. And that really is the name of the game here. Like, you might think it's a little bit weird to change, like what was wrong with the current scoring system. And I'd actually, that's a good question. I think the current scoring system is honestly kind of okay, but it really is just trying to align all of the gameplay systems as much as possible. I actually did ask Roy. Roy was in Twitch chat a little bit earlier, and I asked, like, what's going on there? Like, what's the motivation behind this? And the motivation really very much is trying to make it so rewards are about active gameplay and war score and kind of winning is about active gameplay. So it's about aligning all of these systems in the same direction. Not necessarily that there's anything wrong with the current system. It's more like they want to have everything work the same way. So what's going on here? During the test, we'll be removing the points gained from holding objectives, which is kind of like the passive tick, right? This sounds like a big change, and it is, but we're gonna add it back in several different places. You'll earn points from taking part in activities as an attacker or a defender, while ultimately helping your team achieve victory. Get points for killing guards, building siege equipment, downing and resurrecting players, etc., etc., etc. The purpose of these changes is to give more agency to players, as opposed to passive progress, right? Like, that's their goal here. That being said, it will still be extremely important to hold on to objectives and participate in actively defending, as you can get a bunch of war score during team defense events. Additionally, the points gained from capturing objectives will be increased. So yeah, capping stuff, flipping stuff is going to be better. So there's like a big motive to actually go and take these objectives. And several actions that grant war score will also scale by objective type, upgrade level, and the number of defenders. Yeah, that's good, right? I think that's a really nice thing because, flipping something with no defenders is like, oh, well, okay. Maybe you shouldn't get rewarded for that. But because they've got this system, they can actually look at that and detect how many defenders there are. If you have like a really crazy massive fight, you manage to take over a tower or a keep, then all of a sudden that's going to give you more rewards. Same, and theoretically, right, this should scale pretty well with roaming. So let's say you're a roamer and you manage to like snag a camp and, win an epic 1v3, right? And, you're able to still take that camp over. You're going to get more points for that, right? If you've got a little Havoc squad going around, like killing groups and taking over stuff, that's also going to be rewarded there as well. I will say this one is really spooky. To be honest, like building siege equipment, like what is going on there? Killing guards and building siege. sounds a little bit weird there. Like, people are already meme with Siege sometimes a little bit. And, well, you know, let's hope it's not too incentivized to do that. And honestly, that they might have to go back on that. And actually, like, before we get too deep into it, it is worth noting, by the way, that one of the things that they've actually been very explicit in this post, I think, quite possibly because of the fashion template stuff, is that all of these changes, they can roll it back, right? So if they drop this in the game and it sucks, boom, it is not permanent, it is gone. This is very much a beta, very much a test. They'll probably test out a couple of different ideas, tweak the numbers around, and at the end of the day, maybe it doesn't work out. That, you know, they'll still proceed with the reward reworks that we'll get onto a little bit later as well. Because at the end of the day, what they're really looking to do is to just reward active participation in World vs. World as opposed to ticks and just like AFKing, which I think is a really big problem. You know, just to slightly sidetrack here a little bit. I think one of the things that non-World vs. World players find very off-putting about World vs. World is that the rewards are so passive. Let's say you want to get in there and you want to get your gift of battle. You're on a conveyor belt, right? You just have to wait until the reward track fills up. Doing stuff doesn't actually help you accomplish that. And I think that's like a really key pain point, especially with newer players to World vs. World and players who are maybe kind of like on the fence, kind of dipping their toe in or just going there to get a legendary, right? So I think addressing that in any way is going to be a really big win. This is actually a very good point there. Awesomeness is saying, you know, you will get, if you throw siege on your opponent after killing them 1v1 and then build the siege, you're going to get points for that. And that's going to contribute to winning the skirmish. That is crazy. ArenaNet is dropping the bomb there. They are fully endorsing building arrow carts on people you beat 1v1. That's crazy. But yeah, anyway, that's how it is. The schedule change. Currently, new teams are created during the first week of each month. However, for this test, we're moving the team creation a week earlier. Yeah, obviously, blah, blah, blah. Bit of a disruption there because they want to get that sorted for the test. We're also planning to make some quality of life updates to a few World vs. World systems alongside this test, including allowing waypoints in your home borderland and EB keeps to be spawned without needing to upgrade. And a change to help cut down on players being stuck in their spawn keep versus overwhelming forces in EB. That's actually very interesting because, yeah, this definitely can happen. They're probably adding like a path, a couple of extra pathways, I guess, to kind of escape, I guess, or something like that. So you can break out a little bit easier. This can happen on all the Borderlands, but definitely especially on EB. So I think that's good to kind of look at that because it's no fun if you're just getting like turbo camped. And kind of addressing that is definitely worth doing. We'll also be adding access to the newly released Infinite Utility Primer and Infinite Metabolic Primer via World vs. World, as we mentioned on the forums. That's actually super nice, and we'll get the full details and the changes on February 24th. That's really nice. It's going to be a good way to pick that up. Depends what it ends up using. If it uses Badges of Honor, this thing is way better than the Raid one, I think. If it uses the tickets, then maybe it's still okay. It's going to depend on the pricing. But I guess if you have like legendary armor already, then you don't really care for the World vs. World tickets. Might be really nice to actually have that. And well, hey, maybe you end up having both, right? So you can actually kind of like divide your primer usage between the World vs. World one and the Raid one. Wonder how that's actually going to look if they're going to have different icons. That might be weird or a bit confusing, but we'll see. And also, here's the other thing, and this is a little bit further in the future. Earlier on, I talked about the reward stuff, and, well, what's going on here? During the beta test, we'll be paying close attention to the amount of war score being generated from the new source to see how they're performing relative to our expectations. We plan to run a second beta test of the system with these war score adjustments alongside another system, end of match rewards. As mentioned earlier, we want to make winning matter, and additional incentives for match placement are one element of that. After the second test is complete, we'll reevaluate the state of war score distribution, and if we're happy with the results, the changes will stay enabled. Otherwise, again, we'll iterate on the system through the beta event test until we feel it meets our goals. End of match rewards will be permanently enabled once we're confident that the updated war score system is a good representation of playing World vs. World with the intent to win, because that's basically the goal here. So let's zoom out a little bit. What are they really trying to do? What's the problem with World vs. World? Like, why are we even talking about this? I'll tell you. A really big problem with World vs. World is that players are often not aligned with their goals. Some people want to go cap stuff. Some people want to go fight, right? And just fight and nothing else. The goal they want to do here is to kind of reduce friction between player groups, between new players, veteran players, fight players, PPT players, and align everyone together. So all of a sudden, oh, that, you know, if you're a PPT oriented player, that fight guild, they're helping you win. They're helping you get big loot. So you want to work with them. You actually want to interact with them, right? and kind of work as a team to capture objectives. They can help you out with the fights. You can defend, right? And like scout, right? You can go, hey, look, come and defend this, and then the fight guild will come and help you defend, right? All that kind of stuff, right? That's the goal. You get the picture, right? The goal is to make it so that everyone is on the same page a little bit more than now. Because right now, World versus World players are really fragmented, right? Like everyone's just, like World vs. World is almost not a coherent game mode. It's a series of player-defined mini games, dueling, zerging, right? GVG, right? Etc. 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 And ArenaNet want to say, actually, we want to kind of combine all of those into the actual game mode of World vs. World, which is about war score. It is about skirmishes. But bear in mind, they don't want to take that away, right? They're not looking to take that away. They're looking to unify players so everyone is kind of helping each other passively, and everyone wants to operate together. Because all of a sudden, and also to kind of reward diverse playstyles as opposed to just like everyone just blobbing it up, because that's the most fun. All of a sudden, if you care about winning the skirmish, if you care about winning the matchup to get these end of match rewards, well, okay, you want roamers now. Like roamers interacting and shutting down supply lines and ganking reinforcements. That's a really big deal. Again, all of a sudden, you don't go, oh, get these PPTs off my map so I can get our massive 50-man blob going, right? All of a sudden, you don't want that, actually. You want to have people who are interested in defending objectives. You want to have people who are interested in scouting. You want to have multiple groups. I think that, a major complaint right now is these like crazy big, 30, 40, 50-man boon blobs. Well, that's not actually an efficient way to win a matchup. You don't want to be in one location. World vs. World is a macro game. You want to have multiple groups assaulting objectives on different maps. You don't want to have a turbo boom blob. You will have it sometimes, obviously, but you're not going to want to have it all the time. And I think that's another goal that ArenaNet has. Like ArenaNet want to kind of modify player behavior and kind of give a bit more breathing room to different play styles within the game mode, because let's be honest, right? I don't think World vs. World, in my personal opinion, is at its best when you've got like a massive 50-man blob. It's fun sometimes, don't get me wrong, but all the time is a little much. And I think this type of thing this is the update that I've been waiting for with World vs. World for an incredibly long time, really. Because this is going to theoretically bring back some of that kind of strategic macro play that I think is really fun in a game mode like World vs. World. So I'm really interested to see if they pull that off. There's a lot of copium for me there, okay? I'm definitely very optimistic when it comes to the potential outcomes for this. But yeah, it's very exciting, I think. And yeah, you can see here, right, end of match rewards are a good reason to care about the match at large, but we also want to reward players for their accolades during smaller chunks of time. With that in mind, we'll be looking to create a similar reward system on a per skirmish. So you're going to have per skirmish rewards and per match rewards to better align with individual play sessions. Log on, play for a skirmish, and get some cool stuff. That's really cool. Yeah, I like that a lot. That's very, very good design in my opinion, because obviously not everyone is going to be able to like grind 20 hours of World vs. World a week. But if you can hop on and maybe play some of a skirmish and contribute to the team, then you're going to get some loot. And this is a big deal. Like active participation, I think, is a major issue with World vs. World. And looking to address that, I'm a big fan of that. I really like the thought process here. This is a good idea. Further down the road, we also plan to look at the participation system with many of the same intentions as the war score updates, rewarding players for active gameplay while removing some of the passivity of the current system. Yeah, and what is that going to look like? Are you going to get pips for getting objectives? Are you going to get reward track for claiming objectives? I will be massively in favor of stuff like that, because yeah, the reward structure of World vs. World can feel a bit soul crushing. It's not even that it's bad, by the way. I think it's unfun, right? That's the important thing. World vs. World can be pretty rewarding. Like I save a lot of gold on my accounts. Like, you'd be surprised how, how much value I've got out of World vs. World on my 0 to hero account when I was progressing that account, because it lets you save gold. It lets you get the relics instantly unlocked, for example. It gives you mystic cloves. It gives you materials. It can help you like get ascended gear. It can help you get exotic gear incredibly cheaply, right? Like that stuff is valuable. It can help you unlock hero points, right? So you can like not have to worry about doing hero point trains ever again. So you save time there, and time is money, right? It is surprisingly rewarding if you know how to get value out of it. But it is soul crushing because it is just so passive. And I can, I definitely have a lot of sympathy for players feeling frustrated by that. These plans are largely focused on updating reward structures and incentives to better align with active gameplay. But we're also looking into new content ideas. While there aren't any specifics shared just yet, we're thinking about ways to add new gameplay experiences to World vs. World. See, that is exciting. Whether that will be by refreshing existing mechanics or adding new things entirely, new events. We'll likely want to leverage similar beta test and iteration cycle of these new ideas, but our goal is to find things that will be positive, permanent additions to World vs. World. See, I imagine that's going to be stuff like kind of like shrines, potentially, bonus events, right? Like, crazy kind of twists on what's going on. There's stuff like the no downstate stuff, right? I think that's probably what it's going to be. So almost like a little bit like seasonal element to it to keep things fresh. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely interested to see what's going on there. I think that, when you have some kind of novelties, some new stuff that pops up, I think it can be really fun. A lot of the bonus events have worked out really well for PvE, so, and well, definitely for World vs. World too, right? The World vs. World Rush, I think, does really, really well. No downstate is a really fun clown fiesta when it's up there too. So yeah, that's pretty cool. It looks like they're a bit more serious though, potentially adding different mechanics. So I don't know, maybe they want to bring back the original orb mechanic from old school World vs. World. Maybe they want to add shrines, right? Or some other kind of like map objective that has like a special bonus, right? There's a couple of things they could do here. As always, we're on the lookout for smaller quality of life adjustments or mechanical tweaks to improve the overall gameplay experience and flow of the game mode for the future. And your feedback helps shape the direction of those changes. Happy gaming. We'll see you in the mists. It's funny. People don't even realize, and this is how ArenaNet can get away with saying this. Roy always says this on the ArenaNet streams, but this is a DeRoya meme. I get it. It's not the most, original thing, but DeRoya would always sign his videos off with, "I'll see you in the mists," like that. And Roy always signs off like this. But the thing is that they can get away with it because it's like slightly obscure and nobody knows. He can't just drop mag rest at the end of the Guild Wars 2 streams, but you can get away with the "we'll see you in the mist." I kind of had to point that out there, but anyway. Anyway, yeah, this is cool. Like, I tell you what, it is better late than never. I will grumble a little bit that, we could have done with this like a year ago. I think that, there was definitely a bit of an issue with the delivery here. Like they dropped World vs. World Restructuring or World Restructuring and then didn't really do this follow-up part. But hey, look, it is better late than never. I will tell you that. I'm actually really interested in this. I am really excited to see like how this actually ends up shaping player behavior. I hope they're generous with the rewards. I hope this makes people excited and, care about winning their matchups and brings a little bit of spark back. Because that's what World vs. World lacks right now. It feels like nobody cares. I hate to say it, right? But I'll just be blunt about it. Yeah, it feels like people don't care about the game mode. Everyone's kind of like just doing their own thing and not really engage in like the wider metagame, which is not what you want. It kind of makes the game mode feel, I don't know. Dead is not the right word because it's not. World vs. was actually very active. It feels kind of a bit lifeless, right? Which I know is another way of saying dead, but you know what I mean? It's not energetic, right? There's no zing, there's no pizzazz in the community about the game mode, right? In my opinion. So yeah, I'm really glad that this is finally, I'm going to be really looking forward to the reward stuff. And like, hopefully we see leaderboards too. I'd love to see leaderboards and like a proper competitive infrastructure, like top guilds contributing, right? Like to, generating war score, top players, even stuff like that, I think would be amazing. So that you kind of have something to strive for, have some kind of accolades for dominating on the battlefield. So yeah, really excited to see this. This is going to be hopefully a really big deal for World vs. World, and there's even a new World vs. World accessory coming out. I think in the next patch as well. So look, it's a good time to be a World vs. World player, guys. Like we've finally arrived. Winning will matter at long last. We've come full circle. We had seasons, World vs. World seasons, right at the very start of the game. And now we're kind of moving in that direction again a little bit, which is pretty hype, right? Hopefully in a slightly healthier, less burnout oriented direction. But yeah, that's it. And yeah, that's all I've got to say about that. Pretty cool stuff. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm actually really tired and semi-delirious, so you're getting a short sign off here, and be thankful for it. That's it. I'm out. I'm done. Follow, like, subscribe, leave comments. Boom!